"OK, what is it you want to know?" asked Louise O'Shea, looking across the table at Yasmin. "And what have you brought in these private eyes for?" She had agreed, somewhat reluctantly, to meet them during her lunch break. Now they were sitting in a cafe in the centre of Swindon, with sandwiches and mugs of coffee in front of them. "We think that your sister didn't kill her husband," Peter explained, "and we're hoping that we can prove it by finding out who did." "I thought you said Vanessa ought to plead guilty," Louise retorted, still looking towards Yasmin. "Isn't it a bit late to start changing tack now?" "Yes," Yasmin admitted. "That is what I advised her. But I can't go further than to offer advice. If a client insists on a not guilty plea, then I have to work with that as best I can. Vanessa has asked these people to investigate what happened, and since she is adamant that whatever happens she is unprepared to enter a guilty plea, it seems to me that it's worth giving it a go." "Well, I think you're wasting your time." Louise was unconvinced. "I'm sure poor Vanny must have done it, and I don't blame her. She must have been absolutely desperate after the way he'd been treating her. It was sickening. The number of times I'd begged her to leave him. But she wouldn't listen. She was determined that marriage was for life, come what may. She always did take everything far too seriously, especially when it had anything to do with the church." "You don't share her views, then?" Jonah asked, when Louise's tirade abated. "Father Gerard seemed to think the whole family were staunch Catholics." "Father Jerry sees what he wants to see," Louise replied a little scornfully. "And I know that Mum and Dad like to think they brought us both up to be good Catholics, so I don't go out of my way to disillusion them. But you won't find me walking down the aisle with any man and vowing to stick with them till death do us part." "Interestingly, Christopher Wellesley appears to have shared your opinion of marriage until he met Vanessa," Jonah said conversationally. "We've heard that he had a live-in girlfriend for years when he was younger. We're trying to find her. Presumably you don't know anything about her." "Her name was Leanne Binns." "No." Louise shook her head. Her face took on a slightly less hostile expression. "I never knew him to talk about his life before he knew Vanny. Why are you looking for this Leanne?" she added, evidently interested now. "You don't think she killed Chris, do you?" "We don't know," Peter told her quietly. "That's why we need to speak to her." Louise turned towards Peter and looked him up and down, as if she had not noticed his presence until this moment. "You really do think that Vanny didn't do it, don't you?" she said at last. "Yes," Peter said simply.